Hello friends. Today's topic, again in the course Introduction to Soil and Water Conservation, we will be dealing with gully erosion control measures, or the classification of gully and the development stages of gully. So why a separate lecture on gully erosion? The reason being, gully erosion is very much advanced form of soil erosion, where lot of time and money is required for controlling such type of land. So any developmental work in soil and water conservation, the major cost involved is in the drainage line treatment. When we talk about drainage line treatment, it is the gully erosion control. As you know, we have discussed, gully erosion is an advanced form of rill erosion. If rill erosion is not controlled, what is rill erosion again? Rill is the small rivulets or small streams, finger-shaped streams which occur, nalas which occur when there is excess rainfall after sheet erosion. So if this rill erosion is not controlled through proper tillage implements or proper tillage activity, this will take a shape of gully, which is a widened and deepened and lengthened form of rill erosion. So when we talk about soil erosion control, gully erosion or its control is very important. Today being the World Environment Day, 5th June, and the theme of this time's World Environment Day is time for nature. We should be giving time for nature, because through nature, whatever we eat or the water we drink or the food that we eat, even the air that we breathe, that comes from the nature. And the conservation of this nature is very important. And this time's special focus is on biodiversity. So biodiversity, that there has to be diverse ecosystem where plants, animals and other its interaction should be properly fine-tuned so that the ecosystem is sustained. And this course, especially conservation, when we talk about soil and water conservation, what we intend to do is we intend to keep the biodiversity intact. So this course, as far as even an environmental aspect is concerned, is very important. And we, being the stakeholders, be it teachers, be it farmers, be it students who will be working in this field, this very important topic has to be understood and should be implemented in the right manner. And this is a very appropriate time to talk about gully erosion, which is one of the major cause for deterioration of land. Is the natural resource. The main natural resources are soil and water. So we talk about controlling this soil as well as water, so that the ecology is maintained, so that the biodiversity is maintained. And at the cost of repetition, I will again show this graph, which I showed it some few classes ago. I want to emphasize and describe it once again. So we do not live in isolation. We live in a system. The world itself is a system where there are many interactions, like interaction of land, water, forest, man, animals. So there has to be a coordination. Why this system? Why do we have to celebrate, or we have to observe, or we have to take care of the environment? Why this alarming situation has happened? This has happened because of the overexploitation of our natural resources. We can understand with this graph potential or the exploitation versus the time. Time is a time horizon, maybe a bunch of few decades, like time horizon A, time horizon B, time horizon C. And this dark line indicates the potential of the system. and the dotted line, this is the exploitation of the system which we are exploiting. In a time horizon A, when the system was intact, when the population pressure was less, the exploitation was much lower than its potential. Now at the time horizon B, when the exploitation started increasing, why increased? Because of many multiple reasons of increasing population, or the increasing or industrialization, or uncontrolled mining activities like this, or we can say man-made reasons, the exploitation suddenly started increasing, and it at some stage it reached the potential level. Then still the population is ever increasing, industrial activity is also ever increasing, the food requirement is also increasing. So that's how the pressure on agriculture, pressure on these industries, and also some greed propelled us to exploit even more than the potential. Now the potential is getting increased, but the exploitation is increasing at a very high rate, but still the potential of the system is same. Here we can observe that the exploitation is much higher than the potential, but still the potential is able to maintain itself. Why? Because of its internal mobilization of resources. It was so healthy system, it could mobilize the internal resources at the time of emergency. But at one stage, at this stage, that is the end of time horizon B, the exploitation started decreasing. Why it decreased? Because the potential is also getting decreased, and it reaches a stage when it is much lower than the initial potential, and the exploitation is also much lower. Why? Because there is nothing much left for exploitation. So this is the system, this is the time horizon that we are living in. That's why we have to go for this environmental conservation, soil and water conservation, land and water conservation, maintaining the ecosystem, maintaining the biodiversity. So this situation has arisen because of this condition, where the potential has become much less, as well as the exploitation, because of the lower potential, is even lower. Now coming to our original topic, gully erosion, we have already discussed it is the advanced form of rill erosion, and if rills are not controlled properly, the rills will widen as well as deepen in size, and it will go a long distance, rendering many lands uncultivable, and there is a huge loss of land and resources. Now we are coming to the causes of gully erosion. There are two main causes. One is the increase in surface runoff. As we have already discussed in the previous classes, that if the rainfall intensity is high, with lower infiltration of the soil, then what will happen? The runoff or the excess water will flow from the land surface as surface runoff due to the existing land topography. So this surface runoff will take away the nutritive soil, the topmost soil, or the soil which are loosely bound. It is taken away and it could be carried or transported to some other place. So that is one of the major reason for this gully erosion. And if there is impounding of rainwater, if the large depth of rainwater is impounded in a dike or in any obstruction, this water, if rain further continues, will flow with high velocity, with high weight, and thereby it will scour the land surface, resulting in gullies. And this gully will widen as we go, widen as well as deepen as time passes by. Second reason is the lower resistance, because this is a function of soil. There are some soils which are more permitting, which would permit more erosion. If it offer less erosion to resistance to the flow of runoff, or in other words we can say, if the soil particles are not properly bound with each other, adhering to each other, then it would be more susceptible for erosion. As a result, even there would be some undercutting of soil, scoring of soil, that is from the top surface as well as underneath or beneath the surface, there would be eating away of soil. Now specifically vis-a-vis gully erosion, there are 4 distinct stages of gully erosion. Number 1, the first stage, or we call it initiation stage. Second stage, or the development stage. Third stage is the healing stage, and the fourth stage is the stabilization stage. This is its flow chart: initial stage, development stage, healing stage, and the last one, the stabilization stage. In the picture we can see a gully. This is in the healing stage. The first stage is when a rill converts into a gully. That is your formation or initial stage. In that stage there is a depression, and this depression will continue as the time passes by. In the second stage, that is the development stage, the gully develops in dimension, both in depth as well as in width. And if there is flow of water, higher rainfall with higher volume, or runoff with higher volume, this will continue on a long strip. So this is the second stage, which is the development stage. Now, once this gully is properly developed, and as time passes by, in maybe 1-2 years, if it is not attended properly, this stage, here some vegetation like grasses will grow. And this stage is called the healing stage. So healing stage is a first step towards the stabilization. Here grasses, if it is not attended, grasses will grow on its beds, on its sides, and this stage is called your healing stage. And the last stage is the stabilization stage. Now these grasses will be well established, and this gully will take the shape of a proper small rivulet or a nala. So it would be a perennial or seasonal nala through which off-seasonal rain will be passing through this nala. It will be converted, so the cultivable land is converted into a small rivulet. So this is your final stabilization stage. In this also we can say this is the early, this is the second development stage, third is the healing stage or vegetation stage, and last one is the your fourth stage or the stabilization stage. Now gully, you may wonder why we are putting more emphasis on gully. As we have told in the start of this class, gully control of gully erosion is one of the main objective or one of the major workload for any soil and water conservation activity. So there are gullies are classified into many types based upon, one is based upon slope, second is based upon its dimension, and third is based upon its phase. Now coming to based upon shape, gullies are classified as V-shaped gully and U-shaped gully. V-shaped gully normally occurs in hilly region where there is high runoff, high flow of excess water, and the soil depth is is less. In such type of places, the gully will take a shape of will take V shape. It would be more deeper with high when runoff takes place. It will take place with high velocity through this gully, but the volume of water is low, because such type of gully would be there at very very small intervals. The volume, total volume of water which is taken through this V-shaped gully is less, and its depth is more. Second is your U-shaped gully. U-shaped gully normally occurs in plain areas or in alluvial soils. Such type of gully, the depth would be lesser than V-shaped gully, and it will flow through water. If there is excess rainfall or excess water flowing through this gully, it will flow in a low velocity, but the volume, since its dimensions are high, it's U-shaped, parabolic shaped, it will carry high volumes. So this is a characteristic of plain land, and this is a characteristic of hilly land. Now the gully again is classified based on its state. There are based on its state there are two types of gully. One is active gully, which is gully where the gully development is directly proportional to time, and it grows in dimensions. Active gully is one which is still evolving. The final fourth stage or the healing stage has not reached. So this active gully in its time period there would be scope for widening as well as deepening. That is, the gully is not totally formed, it is not stabilized. Second is passive gully. Passive gullies are those which doesn't change with time. So once it is properly stabilized with vegetation, after passing through healing and stabilization stage, it becomes a passive gully, and it is more or less a nala. Now gullies are again classified according to dimensions of gully. What are dimensions? Basically, length, width and depth. It can be classified as small gullies which can be controlled by tillage implements. Second is medium gullies where the vegetation can grow in the gully bed, and the large gully where plants would be, the large gullies, the depth would be not very high, but its width would be very large. In such type of gully, even shrubs or small plants will grow. It is more or less a stabilized gully, and or we can also call it an unseasonal river. Now there is one more classification based upon the depth. We notify as it as G1, G2, G3, G4. Very small gullies, medium gullies, and deep gullies. Any gully which having depth less than 3 meter comes under very small gully, and 3 to 18 meter it comes under small gullies. If depth is more than 18 meters, it comes under medium gully, and very high, very deep gullies, it is called deep or narrow gullies. Now coming to the factors that affect gully erosion. The factors which affect soil erosion are same as the factors which affect gully erosion too, because gully cannot be classified other than soil erosion. It is one form of soil erosion. So we can put it into two categories: man-made factors and the environmental factors. The man-made factors are mining. So because of some policies of the state and central government, mining, there would be many types of mining: mineral mining, sand mining. Such affect the ecology or the environment or the conservation measures that are taking place in an area. So mining is one of the factors which affect gully erosion, because in mining there digging takes place. Once there is a ditch, it will again, if it is not attended well, the sides will score, it will deepen and it will widen, and it will take a form of a small nala. Forest fire. Forest is a very good cover against the impact of raindrop. If this protective cover is removed through inadvertent forest fire or or a practice which is followed in the northeastern region, which is called zoom cultivation, where a chunk of land, forest land, is burned, and or we call it shifting cultivation as well. And cultivation for a small period is for a season is done there, and in the second season they go to some other place. That's why it is shifting cultivation. So wherever the forest cover or the protective cover is removed, the land surface will be exposed to the agents like wind and water, and thereby it will cause erosion. And especially in forest area where the slopes are very steep, it will convert to V-shaped gullies, rills. Then later it will be converted to gullies. Overgrazing. We have already discussed. Any system, any piece of land has got its carrying capacity. Provision should be made even in grazing land for regeneration of the grasses or of the shrubs. If the carrying capacity of a particular piece of land is for 100 cattle, and if you put there 200 or 500 cattle, what will happen? You can take the production as grasses, the cattle will eat away the grass, but there would be less time for regeneration. So what will happen? The basic concept of conservation is defeated here. So regeneration does not take place, so grasses are not allowed or the shrubs are not allowed to grow. So such type of land, when vegetation is less, grasses are less, such places will be prone to soil erosion. Again, many construction works are going on, development, even development which is taking place in rural areas and urban, peri-urban areas or urban areas, road constructions, there is lot of manipulation of the soil, cutting and filling of the soil. Such type of land, when ditches are dug, it will lead to gully heads, and this gully head will continue in its length. There are other some environmental factors like poor vegetation. If vegetation is poor, erosion would be more, and it will slowly take the shape of sheet, then rill, then gully erosion. Rainfall intensity. Places where the rainfall intensity is very high, simple rainfall may or may not result in gully erosion, but the intensity with which the rain is falling, that is the rate at which the water is falling on the ground without any proper cover or without proper management practices, such places will be susceptible to gully erosion. Uncontrolled overland flow. If rainfall is happening and if it is not checked, if the length of the slope is not checked at intermediate places, then this overland flow will result in taking away soil from one place to another, and this could lead to gully. Also, the poor internal drainage of the soil, that is a function of soil type. Some soil type does not allow proper drainage, like clay soil. There the possibility of gully erosion or gullies occurring is more. Gully control measures, we will be discussing this in details in our practical classes, but in broad heads are vegetation. We have discussed the agronomic measures for control of water erosion. Same can be adopted for gully erosion as well. Second is reforestation. Cutting of tree is taking place unabated. The forest area is becoming lesser and lesser. If you compare the forest area of a particular place some decade ago and now, there would be definitely some reduction. So this is happening because deforestation is taking place due to developmental activities, but at the same time reforestation is not happening, afforestation or reforestation is not happening at the same rate. So what will result? It will result in reduction in forest or forest cover. And third, so the reforestation has to be done as a control measure, so that if there is deforestation, the reforestation should be done at least at the same level of deforestation. Third is structural control. This is permanent structure or temporary structures which we construct in the drainage line. Drainage line are the gully line, permanent gullies through which water passes, especially in the non-agricultural land that we discussed in the previous class. There are many structural control that we will be discussing in the coming classes, like there are temporary, semi-permanent, permanent structures that has to be constructed along the drainage line. The purpose is to reduce the slope of the bed. So it will be this control, like drop structures, spillways has to be constructed, or gully plugging can be done at regular intervals, so that the velocity, erosive velocity with which the water is flowing can be checked, and should be flown through a non-erosive velocity. That's almost from my side for as far as gully erosion is control measures is concerned. I am giving you one assignment. The previous assignment that I gave you, some of you have responded. This assignment you have to do it in your assignment copy separately, and what you have to do is you do it in your assignment copy. You write it. There are many sources. If you don't have book, I have recommended few books in the previous class. If you don't have book, there are many sources, open sources, even many sites where you can find this type of literature. This is how do you classify. I am sorry for the spelling, mistakenly it is wrongly written. Classify gullies. What are the stages of gully development and what are the factors for gully development? See, why I am giving you assignment is to make sure that whatever is being taught, you are taking things seriously. And what I want is through my email ID or WhatsApp, you send me just a proof, the index as well as one last page of the copy, your assignment copy, so that I can make sure that you are, and you are doing the assignment properly, and I am. And second, the practical class that we have done last time, if you go through the previous notes, lecture 3, part 1 and part 2, you can do it very easily. First practical, this is through a table enumerate how do you classify land according to its capability using the main parameters of soil texture, soil depth, land slope and soil erosion status. If you go through the first lecture note, lecture 3, first part, you will find the answer there, where in a tabular form we have represented how land classification be done according to these 3 parameters. In a tabular form, you have to replicate the same thing. Second is, which we did in the part 2 of it, in the practical class, where the question is like this: an investigation study of a farm was done through participatory net planning in red soil area. The investigation of the farm, which was 5 hectares, it was subdivided into 3 subparts. In subpart 1, the land slope was 3%, soil texture and was sandy loam, soil depth was found to be 77 centimeter, and the erosion status of the plot was such that the A horizon was more or less intact. In the second, that is 2 hectare plot, the land slope was found out to be 5%, soil texture was silt clay loam, soil depth was found out to be 44 centimeter, and the erosion status of the plot was such that around 1/3 of A horizon of the soil was removed. In the third subplot, that is of 2 hectare, the land slope was found out to be 12%, soil texture was sandy soil, soil depth was found to be 44 centimeter, and the erosion status of the plot was such that around 80% of A horizon of the soil was removed. Classify each subplot according to land capability classification and determine which class of land does each subplot belong to, and suggest some soil conservation measures for each type of land, each type of 3 lands. So you have 3 subplots. You have to tell which class of land does it belong to according to land capability classification. This one you have to do it in your practical copy, make it and submit it within 1 week. That today is 5th, by 12th you have to submit it. See, doing assignment, that too doing it timely is very important, and I am very particular about this assignments and practical copy, and should be done within time. And if there are 4 colleges, each colleges there would be class representative. What I want you to do is, class representative, please send your email ID, so that if there is any note I can pass it to you, so that it can be circulated among yourself. And this practical as well as assignment, the one which was given previously and the one that I am giving now, along with this practical, should be done in 2 separate copies, one assignment copy, second practical copy, and you just photo click the index page as well as the last page of your assignment, and you can send it to my email ID or my WhatsApp number, so that I can put that in my records. I have created a separate file, and timely submission of assignment and as well as practical copy, it does carry mark, and whoever submitted in time will be awarded the full marks. And second thing, whenever you submit this assignment, that I have observed, few people, around 10-20 people have submitted. No, it's not necessary that you click all the pages. Just click the index page and the last page and send it to me. I'm maintaining a record. So and whenever you send, please write down your college as well as roll number. I'm maintaining separate file for all the 4 colleges. So that's all from my side today. And with the somber note of har khet mein made or har made mein ped. So that is the slogan for this today's Environmental Day. I am ending this lecture. So see you next time. Thank you.